and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Trying to get the microphone off camera. So how is it going for everyone? Hey Matt, how is it going? Sounds like a bad day, but hopefully it gets better now that you're at home and can take it easy at the end of the day. Oh, and I got the episode of the podcast and the live stream we did up. On the audio part, I was able to take some of the hiss and stuff out of it. I don't know how I had you patched in. I think my sound card, something is bad with the this PC, but it was crackling a little bit, so it was a little bit rough. But we'll get it figured out. We may just have to, if we do something else, we may just have to do it not live stream. Just use like how we did with the unboxing. But good to see you, Matt. Hope things get better. I'm luckily coming out of the lockdown and everything. I'm free to interact with the public now, and everything should be back to normal by Friday. But we'll see. There's always lots of surprises. But oh yeah, and sorry, it's a day late because I thought yesterday was going to be the day back. I'm sorry, I thought today was going to be the day back, so I was getting ready yesterday for that, and it ended up being Friday. But yeah, eventually. Who knows? Because I keep reading about people having like multiple infections, so I'm not looking forward to that. And next month, Japan is going to open up again, kind of, to a list with a lot of conditions, and to a list of very limited countries. And supposedly the groups can't be bigger than 5 people, and you have to have a guide with you all the time. I saw something in the Japanese news that they wanted to start including kind of manners guides to people visiting Japan, so they don't do anything too horrible while they're here. I mean, the manners are so intricate here that you'll never, as a foreigner, never be able to keep up with all of it. But I guess they're just talking about for and probably for the people in the towns you're visiting, to make things a little bit more comfortable, so there's not so many people walking around eating food and things. There's just like some small manners things that don't aren't readily apparent if you're visiting. Yeah, so that'll be fun. That'll be the worst job ever. They're gonna have to start hiring bouncers, essentially, because I'm sure some of the tourists are so belligerent it's not even gonna matter. Oh no, yeah, I've heard that I had the session, the Enemy Within session on Sunday, and yeah, my daughter was talking about how things are just crazy. Price-wise, things are insanely, like, they're unsustainable. Rents are just out of control. Like, a lot of rents have doubled in certain situations, and especially, so they're okay and finishing up university, so they don't have to look for another apartment in a university community, which is good because all the landlords are bloodsuckers. They really take advantage of the students, because if you're anywhere near campus, the rents are insane. And because it's student housing, they don't take care of the properties at all. But she's going to be done with that, but then she's going to enter the real world of like horrible rent. So, yeah, there was someone, I just saw someone like Instagram or something touring I think it was $700,000 house in what looked like the valley, looked like Los Angeles, kind of Southern California style, with the cinder block, wall around your backyard and stuff. And it was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house. It was horrible, with like wall-to-wall brown carpeting everywhere. and yeah, it was $700,000. So yeah, prices are a little crazy. I can't imagine there's such thing as a starter home, because if anything, this wouldn't be a starter home. This would be like a retiree home. Yeah, they're Berkeley. He goes to Berkeley, so yeah, they're outside outside of the city, but not great. Yeah, so, but I don't think Los Angeles is going to be any better, so I'm not sure what they're going to do as far as where to live. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I think that's part of the problem. It's a little bit culturally, but it's also part of the problem that forces there we go, that forces Japanese kids to go to university from home. Like they keep living at home all through university, and basically until they get married, they're living at home. And with the rate of marriage, however you would say that, with the fewer number of people getting married, that means people stay at home forever, and like it gets away from them. Their life gets away from them. They have their nose in their career, and they look around and they're like, oh no, I'm in my 40s and I didn't do anything. And then their parents are getting infirm. Their parents are starting to get sick, so then they end up being the on-site caregivers for parents. So it ends up working, but I don't think it's working as intended. And then a lot of bad situations, domestic violence from the kids and stuff, domestic abuse from the kids can happen. Yeah, because if they develop any, gambling habits or drinking habits or whatever, then they can get a little reckless with the family's income. And it's all, by that point too, it's all pensions and things. So who knows? But that we may be headed toward that in the U.S. I'm drawing mugs now. Be headed toward that because the ridiculous price of tuition. The thing is of the size. Maybe the thing that will keep that from happening is the size of the U.S. And you don't always want to go to your local school, and that idea of being independent at 18, or at least leaving the house, is a little bit more kind of ingrained in people's thinking. And I think the tension will be actually a lot worse because American kids will want a lot more freedom but still be living at home. I'm sure it's got to be. I haven't seen any numbers about that, but I'm sure it's got to be higher than it was. And especially like moving back home, like going away to university and moving back home after, has to be getting bigger too. Because there's just nothing out there for you in a lot of situations. All right. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to get that all figured out. It seemed so expensive when I was doing it, and it was actually like insanely affordable. Like you could rent entire houses for a very reasonable price that you could then split. Yeah, if it had multiple bedrooms, you could split up the bedrooms and easily afford to have a nice unattached freestanding, whatever the term is, a single family house, that you could live in with a yard and everything for a decent, the price of a crappy apartment. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see, because people always, come up with solutions. There's always, people that aren't going to stand for the thing that's happening. So there may be housing co-ops and things that spring up, to try to fight this strange, situation. Help people be able to afford things, live in nicer areas and stuff. That would be a nice thing to see, instead of these asset management companies buying up all the foreclosed properties and then just renting them out. It would be nice to see people start to do something actively to guarantee affordable housing in certain areas. so families can actually have a chance. uh, yeah, it's amazing. Right. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, Matt saying, yeah, New Orleans is going Airbnb crazy. Yeah, I can imagine because just for the like Mardi Gras and stuff, like all the apartments and things with balconies, I think those have probably been owned by property management companies forever. Yeah, that really sucks. That was something that they were worried about. Luckily, 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 I say, for the Olympics in Japan, they were really worried about that. That Chinese companies were going crazy because it had begun to happen. We're going crazy buying buying up rental properties in Tokyo so that during the time of the Olympics, people they could charge people through the nose for convenient accommodations when they were here for the Olympics. But that didn't happen, did it? So yeah, that was the only good thing that to come out of all of the bad weather is that a lot of people's financial scams in Japan and a lot of other countries fell apart because because finances fell apart. Uh, yeah, I they're gonna have to start to deal with that short term rental thing. Prioritize people. I mean, well, if they want to. I mean that's to say. I don't know if there's any what do they call political capital in it. If there's any benefit for people because you've already seen like the during election time, forgiving student debt and all this stuff comes up and then it just goes away. But I wonder if affordable housing is well that's something that's always mentioned. Yeah, you hear that mentioned every single election cycle, and it's worse than everything. Though is worse than ever. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm surprised too. But I think a lot of Chinese are pretty tricky because they get around it. The same way that. So if you've got a relative that's married has a Japanese spouse, which is pretty easy to do, then you can, without it being Chinese investment, you can start the Japanese equivalent of an LLC that's basically just all fed by Chinese money. But I'm sure though that it's being handled a little bit better than Australia at least. I've seen nightmare. Seems like Australia and Canada need to curtail that pretty strongly because they're getting a lot of areas are just completely Chinese owned. I don't think people even realize it, but I think there might be some restrictions. But I have heard horror stories of apartment buildings turning Chinese, and just people slowly seeing their building. It's like more and more people are outside smoking on the balcony, and more kids are running around not speaking Japanese, and you slowly get the idea. Okay, I think this building is turning, and then because there's a real kind of lifestyle incompatibility, people just flee those buildings, and so then they turn all Chinese, just because they get dirtier and louder, and there's more fights and things that just don't happen in Japan. Japan's all passive aggressive, not aggressive aggressive. Yeah, but I'm sure there's got to be. They're just though the problem with Japan is that they've got their special style of political corruption, and there are definitely a lot of politicians in the pocket of Chinese, Chinese money. Yeah, I read. I think it's a pretty old idea now, but I read about the iron triangle of Japanese corruption. So the you know elected like national politicians, which is the party based. So the national politicians, the corporations, and the local bureaucrats make this like unbreakable relationship of influence and money that gets things to never happen or never change, or that system siphons out a lot of public funds into people's lives, pet projects and things that are basically just scams. Yeah, but it gets revealed occasionally, but nobody's ever punished for any of that stuff. It's just suspected, not embezzling, bribery. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, Japan has a unique, compared to I think Western countries. Japan has a unique. They've always tolerated investment, and as long as it's benefited them, and hopefully, just like they have done with American investment and everything else, they're having this stuff weighted in their favor, so that it's never gonna come back and bite them. But you never know. People, I think Japan used to be a lot wiser about how it structured its deals. I'm not sure if that's still the case, because there's young and impetuous, kind of get rich quick thinking out there in like younger generations. So if they're managing the companies now, if they inherited management of the what are usually family derived businesses, they could screw it up. That's what they say is scary about Korea, is they're much more agile business wise than Japan, but that also means that there's not that many corporations, there's not that much wealth in the country compared to a lot of other big countries, so things could go south really fast. A couple of corporations hit hard times, and South Korea is in trouble. But who knows? Yeah, I heard from one of the associate professors I was talking to who plays the stock market. For some reason, I guess instead of pachinko or slots, he plays the stock market. So he's one of those home investors. In his downtime, and he was saying he was getting killed on he had Target and Walmart and a lot of big chain retail stock in the U.S., and he said that was all tanking. So that's scary. If Walmart, with their insane granular inventory and sales tracking and everything, where they can hourly move items around in the store hourly to follow the shopping trends of that day. If they can't make a profit, then everyone else is fucked. So we'll see. All right. Oh, I had an idea too for a topic. I'm sorry, I gotta text you, Matt, about this stuff. But I had an idea for a topic for something we could discuss on a podcast. Yeah, it was just a comment. There was a comment a while ago about this, and we talked about it a little bit on Sunday with the players on Sunday, and so it keeps coming up, and so maybe it's worth talking about. But just the whole genre of fantasy, if it's built on such shaky ground that it really can't, it can't update, it can't move into the future. I think that'd be a fun discussion. Yeah, because it's always interesting what when the Lord of the Rings books are popular in certain countries or whatever, what trends or whatever, or what interpretation of those books makes it popular. And I think that there's a little bit of a connection to what attracts people to fantasy in general. So we should talk about that sometime. That sounds like there's something there. Yes. Yeah, whenever I'm streaming on an irregular day, I always wonder what I'm up against because there's so much streaming on YouTube, and so many people do such interesting dynamic stuff that I can always tell when things are quiet and I'm on an off day, that there's something much better going on somewhere else. But I got to get these cartoons done. All right. Oh. Yeah, what else is going on? Oh, the session was really fun on Sunday. They made awesome, crazy choices again, and I did one of those things where I just had to make one of those decisions, like on the fly, and I think I did okay. I think I did it okay. Like, I'm always really conscious of screwing up like players' expectations, like just having something be so disappointing, and not in any interesting story way, but just be like, yeah, of course you're gonna take that from us. And so I think I made a good decision. But it was really fun. Yeah, I think it's based on, like, just paying attention to, like, as a game master, paying attention to what aspects of the story the players are enjoying, and not to even if the story would cut that out, or if those are kind of dead ends story wise, to let the players continue on with something that wasn't really an active part of an adventure is fun. I think that's and there's a lot of unexpected stuff comes from that. So that was a fun challenge, and I was trying to get things to happen simultaneously that shouldn't have been happening. So that was fun to work out too. But it's been like that. The whole adventure's been like that, because they've been really off the rails. Like, I can't railroad them at all, because of a lot of the decisions that they make. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right, Matt. For defining fantasy, I would definitely want to. And I think what I wanted to talk about was just in terms of the basis, like the pulp and Tolkien basis of Dungeons and Dragons, and then like what 5e is based on now. And yeah, because that's true how different. I mean, there was no such thing as fantasy and science fiction in pulp. It was all the same. Like, there wasn't really a division between those genres until much more recently. But yeah, just talking about kind of some of the racial ideas and the cultural ideas that are kind of taken for granted, or kind of not taken for granted, are just assumed. Yeah, the assumptions that are made in a fantasy setting that I don't think everyone is comfortable with anymore. So to keep using that as a basis, Tolkien as a basis for things, is going to make it harder and harder. And you can see that with Wizards of the Coast, how they're editing their books, re-releasing stuff. That, yeah, it's, you either got to stick with it and just say, yeah, you got to love it, warts and all, or you have to, do something where you kind of explode it and make it a little bit more open. Which I guess if you're talking about multiverse now, which I think that's what everyone seems to be doing. What, like the Marvel movies and everything's leaning into multiverse. So then they can bring in, everything they have the rights to. They can have appearances of every actor that's ever played Spider-Man, but also then you're not stuck with the original interpretation of any character, because you just go to another alternate universe, and hey, in that one, this never happened, and this was never based on this. Yeah, so I think that's why people are leaning so heavily into it. Yeah, it's a good point, Matt. Yeah, the players are improvising the whole time because all they have is a basic idea of their character. Yeah, and I think to railroad too hard, you may as well just read them a story. Because if they don't feel like they're having any influence on the narrative, or the direction of events and stuff, yeah, I think that's got to be very frustrating. But it's good though to because player expectations are also, if they have any experience, they're like, oh well, it probably says this in the book, so that that's definitely it has to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, that's really fun to play with their expectation of things. Yeah, usually this would be the outcome. Oh, and they even in the newer Cubicle 7 books for the Enemy Within, they even had those little grognard pop out boxes and things that recommend that, because they know so many people have played that adventure so many times. So say instead of mutants, use Skaven, or instead of this, do that, or shift the focus. Like the big bad is actually this guy, not this guy, and that'll keep the players that have played the adventure before a little more off balance. But I heard the negative part of that. One of the DM for our OSR said he was in a campaign of that, and it was looking like the GM for that game was using those suggestions as a rug pull. So when he felt anybody was too meta, he wouldn't have it kind of determined in advance how he was going to set it up. He would just rug pull, like, oh, you think it's this? Nope, it's that. And it felt very cheap and kind of frustrating. So as the players were getting closer to something, and they had knowledge of the structure of the adventure and everything, and the changes, the things that were different, were just different, kind of in a spiteful or what's that? Just a contradictory way, not a whatever that word is. Somebody that's always disagreeing, just to disagree, that sort of thing. Oh, 5e versus original D&D. Oh, okay. So original D&D was inspired by Appendix N fantasy. 5e was inspired by things inspired by things inspired by... Contrary, yeah, contrarian. Yeah, that the GM in that Warhammer fantasy game was just being contrarian, where it's like, oh, you want to do this? Well, actually, it's like this. And yeah, so it wasn't keeping things fresh. It was just like feeling a little spiteful. Yeah, that's I think now, because I don't, it's funny playing original D&D and even trying to put yourself in that mindset anymore, because I can kind of do it, because I remember there was like this extra room in the library where we would meet and game, because we couldn't get into the back room of the local hobby store because it was all the high school kids. But it's just paper, and you've only seen like fantasy depicted in less than like a handful of movies ever. And so visually it's much more inspired by your imagination and inspirational like illustration and artwork and stuff. But there wasn't fantasy MMOs and PC RPGs and a whole elaboration on those influences. So now, players' expectations and kind of what their idea of fun is, and what their idea of doing something, the reasons for even gaming together is very, very strange. Not so very strange, very different. And so trying to put your head into that original space, no mobile phones, you're not using any digital tools. No, like, people aren't all sitting there on laptops. They're not using their smartphones. Everything is just, scratch paper calculations. Yeah, damn. That's so funny. Yeah, that's always the... what are those rooms even for? It must be only for role-playing. But, that's what we would... The big public library was really beautiful. It had these like extra rooms downstairs. And they were storing a lot of like old 78s and stuff there. There was a lot of like old phonograph records and stuff in storage down there. But yeah, they would let us use those spaces as long as we didn't get too rowdy, as long as we weren't too tweaked out on Starburst and ginger ale or whatever we were drinking. But yeah, yeah. So, but it's a weird thing now because you don't want it to be, you don't want, and that's what I'm kind of torn between, like playing original rule set as authentically as possible, because then aren't you doing like a Williamsburg the like recreation of colonial America where you're like churning butter or like dipping candles or whatever, like you're doing something that nobody does anymore, in this like weird like Renaissance fair or recreation way. I think that is not what role playing should be. You shouldn't be simulating an activity from the 70s. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There shouldn't be too much like recreationist vibe going on. I worry about that a little bit. Let's just allow for time to have moved forward. Hey, unknown girl. Yeah, I'm so glad that happened. Yeah, unknown girl said about playing board games face to face as opposed to like the digital version. And it's funny now though that some of the board game companies are moving hard into digital. I guess they see it as like another revenue stream or something, and it's like an always on store that's always open without production and things. But yeah, I see like Gloomhaven and things. A lot of stuff is moving to digital. Nemesis, there's a new digital version of the Nemesis board game. So things that are popular board games, they're now starting to try to take them digital. And a lot of board games recently, you need a smartphone or an iPad to, like, it's some games it's a necessary component. You need to use an app to be making certain decisions, instead of just having a table that you're randomizing on or having a deck of cards that's randomizing things. They say download the app. So that's not great, because I was happy to see that. So going back to that original point, I was happy to see that the people finally realized that socializing face to face was so much more rewarding until we were forced to wear masks and avoid each other, sit between plexiglass dividers. But yeah, it's so much nicer. And also then the thing with the when it's digital too, some people get hyper focused or a little bit too hyper competitive with things, and it's just more fun when it's a more casual experience. It's weird to see the the hyper competitive geeks that aren't competitive about anything else in their life because they have a very very slow achievement in all other parts of their life, but they feel they can really be competitive playing a card game or a board game. That's a little bit annoying. But I guess people have to get their dopamine from somewhere. Yeah, console version of Gloomhaven. Yeah. I was really surprised by that because it's it's basically a role-playing game. So it's I was surprised that but I guess if the property is valuable and people are gonna pay for a license or whatever, then companies are stupid to refuse that, because I think there's a good chance that if the digital experience is missing something, then that'll lead you to the physical game. So it's still good marketing, because I think even though Games Workshop is so bad at it, giving a license to everyone that wants to make a game, I think there are people that are interested in Warhammer Fantasy and things that never would have been before without the Total War Warhammer or the Skaven shooting Vermintide, the Vermintide games, or any of that stuff would not be. They've worked well for marketing their IP. And creating interest where there wasn't before. So yeah, I don't know. It's a funny thing. Yeah, I think of that with mobile phone games so often. They're so often completely unsatisfying and just like just a coat of paint basically. The IP that's licensed and the game mechanics have nothing to do with anything except getting you to pay, make microtransactions. Um, but they do lead you to the just like Saturday morning cartoons of Marvel superheroes led me to the comic books when I was a kid, that sort of thing. Like Spider-Man and his amazing friends were the only. It was a big reason that I was looking at comics at all. Yeah, yeah. I think it's really interesting because and what's so funny is they're selling a license to literally an IP that they killed, and then now they're pretending, oh, it's coming back, and they didn't kill it, or we didn't kill it, it's coming back, but they were selling. That was like killing, Superman or Batman or something, and then keep merchandising, keep trying to sell toys and everything. So isn't he dead? And I guess comic books is a bad example because everybody dies and comes back somehow. Um, but they literally killed that IP because they didn't think it was like legally defensible, like legally unique enough to defend copyrights and trademarks and things. So but now people are interested in the old version of things. And the thing that I hate about Age of Sigmar is they're just like, oh no, everything's in there, everything is came back, and so they're using all their old character names and this original content that they generated that wasn't generic fantasy. Um, they are trying to bring back in Age of Sigmar. Mm. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm turned off though. Like with the board game boom, one thing I'm turned off by is the board game snobs. There's like, I mean, just there's hipsters in everything, and there's always, hipsters that are real. There's only certain euros and stuff that will play, and everything is below them. Because I'm a real like Ameritrash, like big ugly, as much plastic as possible are always my favorite. Favorite board games. And a lot of times the mechanics of the games aren't great or whatever, but you got all this shit to move around on the table. So I'm a sucker for that stuff, and I've had way too many snobs, that are like, well, I think you've got a lot of games that aren't necessarily very mechanically sound. Like, oh, fuck yourself. I guess there has to be hipsters in anything that you can do in a cafe. Hipsters are going to get involved. Hey, Twisted Fister. uh, yeah, I just mean those people that I guess hipster's not the great word, but like a trendy elitist, that's elite about what pop culture or board games or something very uh, very inconsequential. It's like, really, this is an opinion you're going to defend? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I'm so shocked the price of things in Japan. Yeah, all the places where you have to rent a space, like rent a table, like a board game cafe, or there's gaming places in a lot of the card game shops and stuff. A lot of the stuff is like $5 for like a whole day or something. It's really crazy how underpriced a lot of stuff is. I mean, they don't have. It's just it's literally just a table. Like there's no amenities. There's no snacks or anything. Maybe there's a vending machine in the building, but probably outside. Um, for some of the gaming spaces. The cafes, of course, are living and dying by selling you food. But I'm surprised how cheap that is. Yeah, $10. Yeah, $10 and then a subscription. Yeah, that was crazy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That was the craziest thing is the sticker shock of the price of coffee and things when I first came to Japan. But America's catching up now. Like inflation is making people are paying Japanese import prices for things that are produced domestically in the U.S. now. But yeah, the and it's especially like if you're basically paying for a nice place to sit. Yeah, always the coffee is like $7 a cup or something like really really painful. Yeah, and very few places make things very well. Uh, yeah, because yeah, Japan is overrun by a lot of chain stuff, just like everywhere else is now. Yeah, there was a decent coffee place outside of one of the big electronics shops, and it was converted into a Final Fantasy cafe, or I don't know if it was Square Enix or I think it was just only Final Fantasy, like only Final Fantasy themed. It was converted to a Final Fantasy cafe with horrible coffee instead of actually decent decent made espresso drinks there. And then that's gone now. I think a lot of the novelty stuff for tourists is gone. So when the tourists come back, I guess they're gonna have to reestablish all of that stuff. Yeah, it was getting pretty ridiculous because the numbers of tourists was so insane that they were able to open everything that they had in Tokyo. They were able to open in Osaka as well, because of the huge tourism here. Yeah, that was crazy. I hope it doesn't go back to that. Don't get Fister started on any of that. Ah, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, her boyfriend keeps talking about he's playing. He played Mjörkborg at a game place. I don't know if it was a hobby shop or a game cafe. There was a group that started a campaign of that, and also a place that was playing a campaign of Kill Team, the new Kill Team. So that yeah, it sounds like there's some decent places. I think there's still great comic shops and all that stuff around Berkeley because there's still a good audience for it. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, there was it was already closed when I found it, but the sign was still there. There was a Howie shop in Nara, like in the middle of nowhere. With no parking. Like there was it was on a second floor of a building that didn't have any parking or anything, just in this little along this little street, and the name of the hobby shop was Hobbits, but it was katakana, so Hobitsu. And I wished I could go in there to see what the hell that was and why they named it. I think they were the sound alike of hobby and hobbits. I think was compelling for them, and I hope the Tolkien estate, and maybe that's why they shut down. The Tolkien estate caught up with them, but yeah, the name of the hobby shop was just Hobbits. But I think they like that name because it sounds like hobbies or something. It sounds like Japanese saying hobby or hobbyist in Japanese almost sounds like hobbits. Yeah. No, the Sendai Daikon. No, no, I haven't. Sendai Daikon statue. I don't think so. Yeah, I haven't. Well, I'm a bad tourist for living in Japan. As long as I have, there's so much stuff. I mean, so much amazing stuff that I haven't seen. We did a little traveling, like when I was first here, a little traveling in like Wakayama and stuff. But yeah, I haven't. And I've done a little bit. We went to Kamakura. I saw the big outdoor Buddha. But I've done, yeah, surprisingly little. And it's just not. I only do it usually when people visit that want to do it. Like I have like friends and family that come to Japan that want to do that kind of stuff. But like personally, I never visit stuff. So there's a lot of, especially the amazing like kind of natural stuff. I don't do all the hiking and camping stuff you can do in Japan that is just amazing. So yeah, I haven't seen a lot of. Oh yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of like really big scale, amazing statues in Japan, and even close to here in the mountainside, there's a carved out. There's an alcove kind of carved out of the mountain with a statue, a Buddhist statue in it. So that there's a lot of like really amazing stuff to find like that, and some crazy, especially this side of this on the western side of the country. The older capital and older Buddhist movements and stuff from where the original schools of Buddhism were over here. So they did things a little differently. There are always like different ideas coming back from Korea and Japan, or Korea, India, and China, and so people kept changing changing how they did things. So the scale of how they built stuff or the styles changed a lot. So that's the fun part of this side of the country. And yeah, I just don't. I need an excuse. So somebody visit me so I can have an excuse to go see things I've missed. Yeah, and I should have really taken advantage during this really quiet time to see things, completely uncrowded, very sparsely, because it would have only been domestic tourists for the past couple of years. So it would have been really fun. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. Oh, wow, you live that close to Yosemite. That's great. Yeah, that was the one place I took when my wife and sister first visited Japan. They wanted to do a national park. That was the one we did. And it was the a bad season where the what's the falls? The name of the falls that just kind of comes out of the top of the mountain, and it was a dry year, so there was no water. So you just saw this like side of the mountain that was just kind of like water stained. You're like, oh, I guess that's where it would be if it was if it was there. Uh, yeah, yeah, that's very very funny. Yeah, so we'll see how the. I'm not coming up with anything. Let's keep doing this. Um, I'm curious how the return of tourism is going to go. Hopefully, there'll be less greed and more thought to maintaining everyone's kind of, quality of life instead of because I really that was the thing that was so sad. And I guess Kyoto's always been a little bit like that. It's always like overrun with Australian tourists and student groups visiting and stuff. But yeah, it was really bad to see it being so abused by just crazy mobs of people where you couldn't walk anywhere, you couldn't enjoy anything. They're just people sitting everywhere on everything because they don't have a lot of benches and things. So people were just like all over the ground and everywhere eating convenience store snacks and like sweating sweating themselves silly in the Japanese summer. But it was really really miserable. So I hope we don't go back to that. I'm sure some people in the city would love that because of the money. But we'll see. We'll see if they can balance that, if they learn their lesson or not. Yeah, and we'll see how much those stores serving only tourists come back again. I think there were hotels and things as well. like really cheap kind of pop-up hotels. More like guest houses and stuff. There are a couple of buildings that I saw that I think they were like office buildings and stuff, and they kind of gutted them and they broke them up into cheap rooms and made them like, guest house for and very Chinese friendly, because the entryway, like I looked in the front door and there's a big lobby and it was really cheesy, colorful, plasticky looking. So maybe something that would look friendly and compelling for Chinese tourists. And then as soon as it was up and running, the first thing you saw was people hanging their underwear to dry in the windows of the rooms, like big grandma panties and stuff. So it's like, yeah, that's definitely for the tourists. Yeah, I'm sure the prices too, it not being a real hotel, I'm sure the prices were much more reasonable because there wasn't, obviously, it wasn't laundry service or anything else. Yeah, I think we're going to see weird effects, and for a long time too. I think it's going to take a long time for people to come back. I think there's still some people in the world that will never feel comfortable, being in crowded places with a lot of people again, because we're just hit over the head for a few years about how dangerous that was, and so you're never gonna get over that that weird uncomfortable feeling of, wow, yeah, I'm breathing all the air all these people are breathing, and especially hypochondriac kind of inclined people. I think the damage has been done, which sucks because, yeah, that's not a great way to spend the rest of your life. Yeah, I don't know. It's still so funny to see, any sort of crowded event that was televised, from pre-pandemic, and realize, wow, you like to actually feel nostalgic for that. So depressing. But hopefully we'll be back soon, and then we can spread the monkeypox or whatever else is coming. I guess I shouldn't say anything like that on YouTube. I have no idea what the trigger words are on YouTube now. Or Twitch, or anywhere. Oh, Matt, it was funny, the live stream we did, I forgot to do the usual outro scene, so I didn't do the thank you for watching scene. I just turned off the stream, but I did this weird thing where I kind of double clicked the button, so I guess it re-established the stream, but it only ran for a minute playing the outro, and I got a weird notification from YouTube that said, we are suspending a video that you have recently uploaded because we believe it's a scam or some sort of I forget, there are a couple of things in the terms of service. I think they were calling it. It was misleading, or it was a scam, and it was just a minute of the thank you for watching. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's okay. But I guess maybe they have, because they've had enough experience of watching the way people are trying to game the system. So maybe it is something that people have done, is having tiny useless videos that they push people to juke their numbers or whatever, to try to game the algorithm. But yeah, it was, they said, we're not giving your channel a strike, but we are permanently forcing this video to be switching it to private. It's like, okay, that was bizarre. At first I thought it was because I had named it the Quarantine Special. I thought it was because of the title, and I thought it was the main video, but it was just like some weird double click I had done on the stream because I was poorly handling everything technically on the stream. All right, candy bars. Yep, we're scammers. We're scamming. We were telling people, we put a video up that was just saying thank you for watching, and that is definitely a scam. We're on the list now. Yeah, I really hope, though, that those hopefully that's just an automated thing and it's not going to like hurt our, score in the algorithm or whatever. For good. That kind of stuff is so strange. Abuse cartoons, yes. That is the channel. Yes, I'm now a scammer. Or no, actually the other channel is a scammer. The Upturned table. Yeah, Matt and I did a version of the weekly last week because Chris, because I was in quarantine and Chris couldn't do anything remote. And we became scammers from my clicking a button twice. Yeah, but I'm sure if you like sit and dissect, okay, like what's there's got to be some benefit to doing something like that, and there's probably, yeah, because I talked about that already. That was some company, I got spam from some company that was saying, upload all of your video content to us, and we'll live stream it as like a 24-hour like running channel, because we figured out that because they prioritize live streams, that you can get more views if you just take pre-recorded and even older content and just run it as a live stream. But I think people would be pretty much aware that your channel is just a scam if you kept sending them. But no, I think they actually set up a different channel. It was actually your content on a different channel that was just promoted on YouTube as a live stream, and they wanted like $50 a month or something to do that for you, because it'll get you so much attention. But yeah, there's all kinds of gaming the system. So obviously whatever that was that we triggered was some way that people game live streams. And so then they'll just make these like random changes. Make these random changes to live streaming that'll make it unusable, just because they're trying to prevent stuff. We can't have nice things because of all the people trying to scam and game the system. I can't believe how many. There was some channel that was talking about the failure of the monkeypox coin already. So already there's a blockchain, cryptocurrency scam around monkeypox, the monkeypox coin. And it wasn't the only one with that name. Like there were already several monkeypox coins. I can't believe that's like, they're trying to ride a trend, and a trend that is like, could be that short-lived in the news. All right. Oh yeah, like a 24-hour Firelock channel. Yeah. Yeah, somebody was talking about that all this reporting about monkeypox is kind of a test to see. Okay, so everyone's like calming down now from the previous thing, the previous bad weather, and let's see if we can get them excited again. Let's see how quickly we can get them to put masks back on and like line up for very quickly developed vaccines and things. Let's see if we can do this again. So yeah, somebody was saying that they were suspecting that this was just a test to see, okay, how gullible is everybody still, like, or I guess not gullible, but how manipulatable, or still how worn out are people, because it seems like it varies, like country to country, but some people just can't do it anymore, and some people are like, okay, tell me what's next. So that may be a test just to see. So let's put monkey in the title and see if we can get people to really get upset about it. Wouldn't be surprised. All right, so I have a series of candy bars, all in this weird perspective. Oh. A new so Robot Checking Guy started a new animated show based on the NFT of a cartoon. Oh no. He lost his NFT and now he can't make a show about it. I'm really suspicious of that group of people that Adult Swim, supports for making stuff. I've heard a few stories about people being real bastards. I had a friend that worked at Titmouse, and so there was always projects. So Titmouse did a lot of production for a lot of like various vanity projects and stuff. And he said the couple of people he met, especially some of the Adult Swimmers, were real. Some of them were cool, and some of them were real assholes. And it was surprising. Like the shows you would think would be created by assholes were actually really cool guys, and the shows that like looked kind of harmless and friendly were actually like real. Real difficult people that worked on them or created them. So very interesting. Yes. I think a lot of people are going to realize that. It's so funny. Because there are some people, depending on where you live, even just within the same country, like even within the U.S., some people have such different lifestyle and exposure to other people and stuff. It's like it doesn't even the end of the world kind of scenarios that we were first hearing at the beginning of this. People they would look out their window and be like, "What? I don't know what are we talking about here?" Yeah, it was very strange. I just hate the fact now that it's all the kids. Now it's hitting kids. The schools are having a lot more trouble now. I mean, luckily all the symptoms are super mild, so it's a very easy thing. And it may just be because they're kids, because they're much more resilient. But I just hate the fact that now it's kids, because either side of that, protecting them from it or them getting it, could both have like lifelong consequences. Or I guess just living in a world with it is making is giving them psychological damage they're going to have for their whole lives. Okay, how about just a weird assortment of candy bars? This is going to be one of the busier cartoons. So I have to come up with that many color schemes for candy wrappers. Right. Oh no, really? Oh no. Yeah, the filter is a heck of a thing. Yeah, I thought, especially on this channel, I turned off because, especially when the chat is really active, I don't want because got always decent mods around, and I don't want to worry about people's messages getting caught in filters. So I think I turned it down to pretty low, but still, yeah, it grabs lots of stuff. Yeah, like a little taffy. Yeah, right. Yeah, I missed that. I haven't had like saltwater taffy or anything like that in a long time. That's crazy. Wonder if that was ever popular here. Oh, this wasn't saved yet. All right. Okay, we'll do something like that. I'm gonna regret. I'm gonna regret that one. And yes. Talking to don't disappear, Fister. No problem. No problem. Yeah, thanks for showing up on or finding the stream on Twitch. We don't get as much traffic or viewers from Twitch, so I appreciate it. Yeah, right. You would think, I like the purebloods. People, I've heard people call themselves purebloods that haven't had any vaccinations for anything. But yeah, you would think the first to go. Yeah. It's going to be so long. And that was the thing. I was talking to one of the professors on Monday, and that was the thing that he was saying is like people don't have it in their heads because it's so easy to produce research and you can publish it. There's so many journals and things where you just pay to publish and there's no peer review or anything. So it's really easy to publish research. It's really easy to get something out there like, cigarettes cause, weight loss or improve your vision or whatever. Like you can do a very small, bad data, bad research and publish it. And the whole community has to respond to these sorts of things. And when they're illegitimate or like, kind of ill intended, they can cause, because, news reporters and journalists and news sources pick them up to just talk about them because they'll get clicks, especially in the, online, our new online world. So anything that's a little clickbaity gets attention. And it does take like 5 or 10 years for like the scientific community to like approve or disapprove, like kind of replicate and decide what is something worth pursuing, what is something that has some legitimacy, and how fast things happened with this pandemic. We don't know anything at all yet, and so it's still going to be a while, and it's probably going to be pretty shocking once we finally hear what things are, and especially because there's already been releases from the big pharma companies about their early trial data. So things were manipulated, definitely, just to get things out there as fast as possible. And the true situation, the true danger that we were in is going to be interesting to see. And what would have been a better, the 10 years from now, the super 2020 hindsight, the bionic vision of the hindsight we will have will tell us a lot about, what we could have done differently. But yeah, who knows? We gotta wait and see. And some people want, I wonder if my parents will even be alive to know like what the hell happened. They're gonna die not knowing what the hell happened during the pandemic. That's crazy. Yeah, well, so much. I think there was so much manipulation, like so much stuff that should have been reported on, but there was like, I don't know, government influence, some kind of like supervisory influence, or even like there was just pressure all the way around to like, okay, let's get a public message out there that's as clear and as useful as possible, but useful to whom because there was a lot of people making money off of the situation, so it's hard to know what it wasn't in the public interest that they were kind of suppressing, but you didn't want to have so many conflicting opinions that it was just making people confused. You had to have some sort of message, and I think each country kind of tried to do that, have their own kind of approach and message, and this is what we're going to do, this is our approach, this is how we're handling this, these are the protocols for what we think about for public health. But I think we could have used a lot more a lot less silencing of people, like how there's still words we can't say on YouTube because they're still on a naughty list for things that are unproven, like we can't talk about origins of things and anything because that's already been put on the naughty list, because it's going to just confuse people and make them not do what their governments want them to do. Yeah, public health is always tricky though. There's so much that can go wrong in how it's implemented. Hey Yum, how's it going? Yes, it was an alien. We should have been able to guess that. I love how aliens are the ultimate distraction now. When things are okay, well, yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Oh, hey, did we show you this footage of these UFOs that all of these Air Force pilots have no idea what it is? Hey, let's talk about that. And then just recently they had some, I don't know, the House or somebody had some meeting talking about some more UFO stuff. I forget they're not using UFO anymore. They're using something else, some other abbreviation. I guess it's more inclusive or whatever, or maybe sounds less like aliens. But yeah, that's always the distraction. I love that. Oh, we'll talk more about aliens if you guys will stop complaining about money we're sending to foreign wars. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Is how was there was there was some podcast I was listening to that was the joke was you're going to hear announcements from the Amazon.gov drones, about go back into your pods and eat your bug paste. We're like, that's the future we're headed for. I like the Amazon.gov. Yeah, so who knows? But yeah, the inflation and stuff in the U.S. is getting weirdly dystopic. I think that's a real creepy creepy situation, and the denial of it. It's like, oh yeah, this is all caused by Russian the supply of Russian energy to the EU. What? Who? What? Yeah, we're getting no explanations, and I think the pandemic was really good for both parties, all governments, local and federal, to just not explain anything. We don't have to explain anything. It's like your parents, because we said so. We're getting a bunch of because we said so things in our lives now. All right, so yeah, I like some of these drawings, but I don't know what they are. Okay, so how about a smaller mug? One of these bags. Oh, sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat very well. Yeah, right. Aliens is more directly relevant than the crisis in the Ukraine. That's pretty funny. I just watched that last night. Yeah. They still, I mean, they became successful based on talent. I mean, you can definitely see that. I don't think you can say the same thing about SNL or anything. I think spaces get filled in the cast in SNL because of we don't have a black guy this season, or we don't have a woman this season, or whatever. Like they don't pick the best people. And Kids in the Hall, like they can still do all of those characters like amazingly, that and I think somebody was just talking about that they just rented whatever theater, whatever space, probably in Toronto or whatever, wherever their market was in Canada, and just did their thing. They did those characters and they generated a following that then got noticed by the SNL guy. But yeah, all of their stuff is just because they're amazing. And I was surprised how much of their stuff tolerated or was fun to play with updating it, because it's all like early 90s stuff, so it was fun for them to update some of those characters and things, and like the fax machine, the last fax or whatever, the Kathy's sending the very last fax from their company, but I think they did a good job. The writing was still good, the performances were still great. And didn't matter that they were old, because they always are wearing hair pieces anyhow. They're always wearing fake hair anyhow. Damn. This isn't looking very good. Yeah. Yeah, that was really... Oh my god. That was really creepy and depressing. The song choice was perfect. And how he kept having to make the reference to it, like always the little segue in and out of that song, and how the generator just ran out of fuel. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, I'm not. I've watched so much Kids in the Hall. Like I always watched their stuff, especially when it was on Comedy Central all the time. I watched a ton of Kids in the Hall, but I still don't think I have enough of a sense of, oh, that's, who wrote what. Sometimes like Monty Python or whatever, you can get a sense from people's sensibilities and stuff. Oh, they wrote this, or But yeah, I still don't have. I really wish they would have done. Uh, Dave Foley and is it Kevin McDonald did the Satan and manservant Hecubus. That was always always a good one. Maybe they couldn't pull it off anymore, but I always liked the evil. How Kevin McDonald said evil in that sketch was always funny. Oh, but that one was good when they were playing themselves, where he tricks Dave Foley into playing. Is it Dave? Is it playing themselves in a sketch? Yeah, but they definitely. That's a. Yes, yes. That's Sir Simon Milligan. And yes, yes, yes. Yes, that's right. Oh yeah, he was a Satanist. It wasn't Satan; they were Satanists. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And Satan. That's right. Yeah. The and always I liked how they tried things. Like it wasn't always home runs. Like their show, everything wasn't amazing, but they were always trying stuff. So I enjoyed that about their stuff too. I think like Mad TV felt like that as well. Like SNL has felt not for a long time that they were consistently good. But both Mad TV and Kids in the Hall, like it's like, okay, they're trying. Some stuff like didn't work as well, but when they were good, yeah, they did really good. Some really good stuff. And they were still doing like young parents and stuff, even though they were all in their 60s or whatever, and they're still doing like first time parent sketches and stuff. That was pretty funny. Oh, no way. Oh, that's great. A magic act in a Cthulhu game. That's great. Yeah, I love that sketch. But maybe there was no like update for it anyhow, so there was nowhere for it to go. Yeah, but I just watched that because I knew that they did a revival thing. I'm like, oh, it's probably on Peacock or some streaming service that isn't going to ever be in Japan. And but then I saw it was Amazon, and like, oh, but it's probably going to take a long time for them to subtitle it or whatever. We'll get it delayed. But it was right there. Yeah, it was just sitting there waiting for me to not know it was there. But yeah, but that was fun. I watched through those episodes. Yeah, it would be cool if they kept that going. And if you've never seen Gillian Keeves, if you like sketch stuff, Matt, you should check out the guys that did Delco Proper on Comedy Central. Matt McKeever, I think it's Matt McKeever, and Shane Gillis are doing a bunch of sketch comedy stuff. So I think it's just Gillian Keeves. Their stuff is really good because they're all young. They've got that young energy, and they're really like insane ideas. Let me search for something. I'll put a link. And they're doing they're working on a new season now. And they just kind of like produce them in chunks. They're funding them all themselves. I think they're looking for a home. Like they're looking for some kind of release or sponsorship or something. To get them out there. Just on YouTube. Yeah, they're just releasing them free. They're releasing them free on YouTube. And just their ideas. I mean, they'll just like come up with an idea, and maybe something that like could have been a stand-up bit, they'll come up with an idea and they'll just push it like really, really far. So there's like the OnlyFans dad, like the dad lost his job and he like turns to doing OnlyFans to support the family. And just, yeah, there's just some really, really good ideas. But I love Shane Gillis is really, really funny. And those sketches are good. They're really stand. Oh, so he was. If you didn't know, he was. He auditioned and was going to be on the new cast of SNL, but he had been doing a podcast for a while called Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, and there was some like I think there's a lot of people that have never had success in comedy in New York, and they just have turned to knocking everybody down that they can. So there was something where there was one of their episodes of their podcast where they were talking about Chinatowns and like how did Chinatowns get started, and like what is the kind of urban planning or whatever that goes into that, and he used the C word to like in character, like a city planner saying where do we put the C words, and somebody released that as a he's horrible racist and he can't be on the show and whatever, and so like within 4 days he was hired and fired from SNL. But it's probably good that he didn't get that because, yeah, I don't know if he would have survived. I mean, I think he was just going to be a writer, or mostly would have been a writer. So we may not have seen him because so many amazing people have been writers on SNL that you don't even know about, like Bob Odenkirk and Harry. Well, I guess Harry Shearer was a performer, but there's a lot of like really good writers that were on SNL. But so in like 4 days he got and lost SNL. But the funny thing is they still had to pay him. Like he's still, because they, had cast him, they still had to pay him. So he got a big chunk of money because it's American TV. But yeah, he was really, really talented comedian. Things happened so fast for him though, because he was, I guess, from Pennsylvania, originally moved to Philadelphia. And then came to New York, and like within the few years of coming to New York got SNL. So like his career moved crazy fast, and that may be part of the reason that people were out to get him, is people are always suspicious of those like very sudden, even if they are like genuinely talented, they're very envious and suspicious of overnight successes, because a lot of people have struggled in that town forever and gotten nowhere. But yeah, those Gillian Keeves, that's some of the best sketch stuff from younger guys I've seen in a while. Yeah, and it's the same. It's got a sensibility to it. If you haven't seen the Delco proper, you'll have to get used to like the kind of shit that the characters give each other and stuff. It's just it's its own thing, but it's really good. Yeah. People, just demanding to be offended, and of course, then that was an opportunity for a lot of Asian American celebrities to, like rail against, how abused they are. But at the same time, he got some decent support. I think, who was the candidate, Yang, Eric Yang, what was his name? He's running for like New York mayor or something, or he was, or no, New York something. But he supported him. Like they had a conversation, a phone call, and he supported him. And he actually got a lot of support from some of his heroes during that firing. Because that could be a thing to just like make you suicidal, to go from huge mainstream success to like, oh yeah, no, we can't have your kind here. And he was even shocked at all that they were going to give him a shot, because a lot of his humor is kind of like fake Trump, because he comes from Trump country, basically, in the like central Pennsylvania, and makes a lot of jokes about that. I look like someone that would vote for Trump, and so that's his some of his kind of on stage persona was that, and so I think that makes him a target as well. Yeah. Somebody's friend. There's too much anti-Asian hate stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's right. Specifically because so so right, Bo and Yang, the cast member they went with, so Asian American gay, that was like they had to do that as like the perfect corporate decision to we didn't cast a racist. Yeah, it's that was very strange. But I mean, he's not on that show. I've seen Bo and Yang do funny stuff. Not on SNL. I think it kills a lot of people's like if they have like whatever their unique persona and energy is, I think it kills it a lot. But he was just like that made his career because he was then the perfect choice after their controversy. And I can't imagine though the conversations that went on at NBC. All right. Or maybe some coffee in the cup. Yeah, but America never ceases to amaze me. I love how Indian Sikh Indian cab drivers get assaulted after 9/11, and anybody looking slightly Asian gets assaulted during the pandemic. It's just like anything that you can connect an ethnic type, nationality, whatever to, suddenly it's open season in the U.S. It's insane. But it's just a bunch of people looking for an excuse. They could change, right? They could change instead of United States of America, they could change it to just a bunch of people looking for an excuse. That would sum it up a little bit better. All right, something like that. Oh yeah. The timing of it was. It was like they had to do that. That was like the perfect political move. Yeah, but Bo and Yang's funny, not on SNL. There's so many people on SNL that are funny that they just are not allowed to be. I think because of the fucked up politics. Because you've got writers and performers, and you've got performer writers, and even like before he passed, Gilbert Gottfried was talking about how hated he was by the writers. Like he got on the wrong side of the writers on SNL and ended up playing like a dead body in a casket that for an entire sketch. Like they really screwed him over when he was on that show. So it's a whole there's a lot of weird politics and stuff that we can't that ruin the show, but that are invisible, I think, to the viewers. I really like. There was who's the Bo and Yang did a lot of stuff with come on, Google. God damn. That's really interesting that you can't. You can't. There's some people that have become like in Google. They just get so entrenched in Google. Who's this? The come on. Yeah, Google is failing me. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but I only know Bowen Yang from, or mostly know from his work with the transgender Asian comedian, and I can't find her name. I'm seeing a picture of her, but if you put in transgender Asian comedian, there's only one that comes up. So right now, Robin Tran is Google's like the only. I mean, oh, Patty Harrison. There we go, Patty Harrison. Yeah, I only know Bowen Yang from stuff he did with Patty Harrison, and she is insanely talented. I hope she gets a good, like, either creates for herself or gets a good opportunity, because yeah, her both her writing and performance is just crazy good. But it's probably good that she didn't get grabbed by. Maybe I'll do this one blue, by SNL. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's strange that they, because Shane Gillis is definitely a very Midwestern looking face for SNL, and I don't think SNL is. They don't want to do that right now. They want to look more, New York diverse and not so Midwestern. But maybe it was an attempt for them to, the TV audience is mostly Midwestern, so maybe they were trying to pander to that. Who knows? Yeah, but let me know, Matt, if you like Gillian Keeves. That's my favorite stuff right now. My favorite sketch stuff for free. I can't believe yeah, to the internet. Oh yeah, that's right. She was in I Think You Should Leave. Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Gilbert Gottfried got some really, got some. He lost the Affleck duck and stuff. Yeah, because of his Fukushima jokes, and like nobody, Asian Americans were offended, but I don't think anybody in Japan was like legitimately offended. But because Affleck is like a global company, they're like, well, we're anticipating that. Yeah, I don't think anybody in Japan even was aware of anything. Yeah, but I guess that is a cultural difference though too. Is that Japan doesn't address tragedy with comedy, like never. Tragedy is addressed with more tragedy. Just like they really wallow in things being horrible. So all of the big, natural disasters, and yeah, I've seen too many like horrible TV dramas where there's like a kid crying and his mother, like in an earthquake, and the mother's in a collapsed building and talking to her kid, and the kid's crying and trying to, I was just like, who is this for? Why do you want to like destroy someone's evening with this? Who needs the catharsis of watching somebody's mother die crushed in a building? Yeah, sometimes I'll just be so surprised by the odd stuff that gets how they process stuff here. It's very different. Maybe I'll just keep doing white. Yeah, so I can understand there not being a reaction to that, and then of course the US like overreacting to it. That was a long way to say that. Yeah, right. Yeah, he went after stuff really quick, and there's a couple of comedians like that. Like Ari Shaffir is like that too. He does it with people's deaths. He'll do it with when celebrities die. He'll say the worst thing. Like he got in a lot of trouble. I think he actually got canceled and kind of disappeared for a while. After Kobe Bryant died, and he said something. It was a stupid joke, but he said something and people freaked the fuck out. And so he just went and traveled the world for a little while and then came back later, and people forgot. It's amazing. Yeah, I can't believe Gilbert was just like Norm Macdonald. He was just like struggling with a health condition that he wouldn't talk about, and then that was just it. Yeah, but I'm also glad that we didn't have the 500, charity roasts of Gilbert, Gilbert Gottfried or Norm Macdonald. I'm glad we didn't have to go through the all the stuff at the end and watching them like deteriorating in wheelchairs and stuff. And that was like, what did Richard Pryor get? Like Parkinson's? And like seeing him at the end of his life, it's just like, I don't want to remember. I don't want that to be my image of Richard Pryor. Maybe not the red, but yeah, always that sort of thing. So it's good, and I think they're aware of that. I think both of those comedians were aware that they don't want that to be their legacy. Is like, oh yeah, remember all the raise money for his cancer at the end of his life. All right. Yeah, after Norm Macdonald died, just like everybody, I'm sure, was watching videos on YouTube. I'm surprised how many times he was on The View. That doesn't seem like a very good idea. That's funny. All right. No way. There's a posthumous Norm Macdonald. I hope it gets released. So that's one of those things. That's crazy because Netflix, would not resist, or probably couldn't resist, tweaking it, playing with it, especially depending on how much heat they're going to get for the new Ricky Gervais special. They might not be able to resist tweaking it, so that would be a shame, because now if that thing exists and somebody, hopefully, he did the contracts and everything perfectly, so they can't touch it if they want to release it. Yeah, because and the only reason I say that is because his last Netflix special was called Hitler's Dog. So I can imagine the temptation is great for Netflix. Hopefully the people that handle comedy are different from the people that handle all the rest of the stuff on that service. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I always did stuff like that. Yeah, have you listened to his autobiography? Or listen, I guess it's a book, so you probably could have read it as well. But he every time a comedian reads does the audiobook for their own autobiography, I always listen to it, because it's always written in their voice anyhow. So you'll that's all you hear reading their words is their voice. But yeah, he did a really amazing job of like telling. It's like almost one of those like American tall tales. Like he includes enough real biographical information and then just stuff you have no idea, like where it comes from. So it creates these weird this weird confusion and weird like, wow, could that have really happened? But he's just it has a lot of that like a Mark Twain kind of stuff, like old American humorous, where the tall tale that just of course this wasn't so as sweet and harmless. This was much more brutal about drug use and things, but yeah, that was really good. All right, I just read that Google is going to stop allowing people to purchase Kindle, any ebooks from Amazon through their apps, through apps that are on the Amazon store, because of the same thing that Apple was kind of fighting about, is they want it only to go through their Google payment system, so they get their 30%, and Amazon won't agree to that, so they're just going to make it impossible to get ebooks through if you're on an Android phone. I think that's already been resolved with Apple, but yeah, I just saw that Android's now having that fight with Google. Fun. Yeah, based on a true story. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I think that's the title of the Norm Macdonald. Yeah, based on a true story. So already that's telling you it's probably not true. But yeah, there's some funny stuff about SNL. Yeah, because he had that situation where he was just like unceremoniously fired from doing Weekend Update because he wouldn't stop telling OJ jokes. Norm Macdonald wouldn't stop doing OJ jokes on SNL on the news segment, and somebody's friend was friends with OJ or whatever. Like there was some politics, and they kept warning him, and he wouldn't stop, so they fired him. You gotta respect it, though. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Now, I'm getting old enough that so many people that I admired are at the end of their lives. That's crazy. When it was just golden age Hollywood stars, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, now that it's like people that I grew up with or respected, that sucks. It does feel like the world's just not yours anymore. There's nobody in it that makes you happy or connects you to better times. All right. There we go. Sorry, I'm missing the chat. Yeah, a lot of it was made up, but in like really, like very much in that American tall tale kind of style, so that it was like there was a point to it being so ridiculously, ridiculously exaggerated. Oop, sorry. Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. That's funny that so many of the game settings like cyberpunk and post-apocalyptic stuff is getting more and more like that just feels familiar. It doesn't feel fantastic or very hypothetical. It feels like inevitable. Yeah, I already bitched about that, but I really hated how many reviews of Twilight 2000 were like, I'm not comfortable playing this game when this could just happen tomorrow. It's like, that's true of any any situation. It could all happen tomorrow. Yeah. All right. They just don't want to be playing the wrong version of you don't want to be on the wrong side of hypothetical history. Trying to make these a little shinier. All right. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I'm so glad that Kids in the Hall thing happened. Can't believe Amazon. There probably must be a relationship with, well, No, actually, like that's not true, is it? Because SNL was on Hulu for a while. Dana Carvey, David Spade. Oh, head writer Jim Downey. Yeah, yeah. Said that they only wanted to fire him for the OJ jokes. Yeah, right, right. But Norm said he wouldn't have stayed without him. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Jim Downey was the friend of Norm's and the writer. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, yeah. That would be great. Yeah, Matt just said that Netflix had that. That's crazy. But it's so funny that they have something that amazing and they're just going to release it on their streaming service. So do they think people are going to subscribe to Netflix because they've already released, Netflix did the last Orson Welles film. They did like the reconstructed last Orson Welles film and stuff. Like they have had some amazing stuff on there, but it doesn't add anything. Oh yeah, you did, Matt. Yeah, you recommended Tokyo Vice. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch that, but I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, Tokyo Vice. Yeah, yeah. That'll be great. I hope it's a good special and it's not too heartbreaking. Like there's not too many moments where you're like, ugh, he just like subtly referenced that he's gonna die. Yeah, it's crazy, and I still can't believe that that Artie outlived Norm. Artie Lang has not been long for this world for a decade now, maybe more than that. He's still outliving so many people. Yeah, I don't know how death pools work, but you gotta put money either for or against Artie in any death pool. He just like will not stop surviving. No problem. Yes. Yeah, I'm happy, or I hope that comes out soon. They'll probably wait for a little bit of a downtime. It seems like I don't know. Yeah, timing like that. You wonder if it's better while people are still in mourning, or if it's better to wait and say the lost or the final performance. Yeah, it's so funny. He won't have that. He won't have his nose fixed. Yeah, so I guess Artie snorted a lot of heroin. I guess a lot of coke and heroin, and when his nose was really messed up, I guess like the septum was like all completely dissolving and everything. He got punched in the nose pretty badly by a drug dealer, like punched maybe multiple times in the face, and so his nose is like completely flattened and looks crazy. And he can have it fixed. He could have it like looking completely how it was, but he said he wanted to keep it that way to remind him, because he's been in and out of rehab and kind of relapsed a lot, like a long term heroin addict. So he wants to keep it that way to remind him of of like what, the consequences, like, because having the surgery to fix his nose would, like, totally eliminate the consequences of his actions. So it's crazy. Nice. Yeah. Well, a lot of the like those are usually just among the groups of people. Like death pools are probably the online betting sites, I'm sure, have death pools as well, because you can like bet on the Oscars and all kinds of stupid stuff on a lot of the online sites now. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but I think a lot of radio shows and stuff I used to listen to would have death pools about who's like the next celebrity to go. Like when celebrities get in the news and you hear that they're like, in a coma or whatever. There was like so many, not that long ago, there was like Dennis Hopper. Like there were some people that had a really rough end of their lives. And of course the tabloids reported on a lot of that. All right. Yeah, it's so weird. The people around, someone famous that has an estate and was like basically, people's livelihood. It's weird, the kind of stuff that happens at the end of their lives, and the people that try to, you know, gain control of that, because they still have, and probably family and kids and stuff that they haven't had good relationships with or haven't seen in a while, but still, there's people trying to take control of them at the end of their lives. Oh, yeah, it must feel horrible. Yeah. I think sometimes though when people are on it's they're so far gone, they wouldn't know or care anyhow. But yeah, like somebody young, like Artie was in his like 40s, I think, when he first started showing up on death pools. Because there was a report, I think somebody from like the Stern show, yeah, as a joke, reported him dead in a Las Vegas hotel room to the local news, and so they actually they didn't confirm it and just ran with it because of course that's where he's going to die, just like Chris Farley or whatever, just overdosed in a hotel room, and so they thought for sure it must be true, and so they ran with it. So they were on the Stern show, so Artie was on the show the next week, and they played his basically obituary, his the report of his death while he was sitting there on the show listening. Stuff like that hopefully has to wake you up, and make you realize that, if this is the consensus, that they don't even need confirmation of your death, that any report is going to be, is going to be accepted as truth. Yeah, I would never bet on a death pool either. I just remember those kind of jokes. But that's the guy. That's the MVP on all of those sites. All right. What popped that up? Jeez. Yeah, Twitch is not letting me log in. That's wonderful. There we go. Yeah, sometimes the little dialogue to enter the login comes up and you can't enter anything. I wonder if it's some weird setting I have on Chrome or something. It's bizarre. But only Twitch does that to me for some reason. I wish you could just choose between multiple accounts. Oh yeah, Matt, thanks for hanging out. I hope your night got a little bit better. The end of your day was a little bit better. It was fun to chat. Thanks for talking comedy, and we'll have to talk fantasy together on a podcast. I think that'd be a fun topic. So I'll send you some of the ideas I was thinking about, and you can give me feedback and help shape that conversation so it makes a little bit more sense and doesn't meander as much as my thoughts usually do. So good night, Matt. See you again soon. All right. So okay, yeah, we can do the comments now. Since I have everything colored. So let's switch over. There we go. So last week's jelly jokes. All right. So yeah, May 24th. Oh, that's right. I did a real late did a real late stream last week too. What a mess. So the strawberry jam being jealous did not make him jelly. And here comes the puns too. He was trying to preserve his dignity. Nice. Well, some people know what I'm trying to do there. And May 19th. Oh yeah, the banana felt his peel was container enough. So many jars looking at him. All natural, many byproducts, and returns to the earth. Nice. Oh, where's the other one? Oh, there we go. The concept does have appeal. Ah, I summoned the most puns in the comments. Let me just make sure. I remember which ones we looked at already. And 17. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think this is already. Yeah, we've already looked. Flamin' Hot Soda wanted to make the most. It was limited time. Nobody. I thought that was a great visual. Oh, there's an old marker drawing. But that was, yeah, I think by that time, so yeah, 2011, I definitely, like, yeah, come up with the style that the marker drawings, that they weren't as rough. But the eyes were still super tiny because they're just the dot, the point of the marker. So sometimes the eyes are hard to find. Somehow he had lost something and now felt less than a beach ball. Somehow he had lost something and now felt less than a beach ball. His ego was deflated. Nice. Had he been spayed? Oh, I already liked that. All right. Another random 2013. Toilet paper jokes, right? Just like that, he was out of her life forever. Yeah, I keep doing colored toilet paper. Oh yeah, we've already seen this. I don't think they've had colored toilet paper for a long time. Nice. Well, he had nothing left to give her. At the end, he was an ass man. Nice. If only it had worked and they were married, reproduced. I, for one, would like to see purple toilet paper. That's true. Yeah, that's so funny they gave that up. But it used to be so bizarre how I think that was a 60s thing, where you would have the tile in the bathroom, all the fixtures, the sink, the toilet, the bathtub, everything would be the same color. So you would want, if it was all pink or blue or whatever, you'd want toilet paper to match that bathroom that already had that color scheme. So that's why they had it. And it must have been so frustrating if you couldn't find it. I don't want to put white toilet paper in my light blue bathroom. All right, so 2017, Valentine's Day. What they had witnessed could not have been described as an act of love. So I guess I should have put in some more debris around, but yeah, an entire box of chocolates eaten. All right. 2009. Oh, this, yeah, one that already came up. Congratulations. He wasn't going to let the correct spelling, something like correct, he wasn't going to let something like correct spelling spoil his good mood. Congratulations. Hey, beer. Oh, this must have been drawn on stream. I just don't remember. July 21st. Dollar Beer Night was a draft. No one could dodge. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, no. Oh, that's really bad. Is that thunder? Wow. I don't know if you guys could hear that on the mic. Yeah, some kind of rumbling. Yeah, I guess we're getting the beginning of rainy season, so it could have some thunderstorms coming. I tried to get there, but my phone first prevented me. Oh, the humanity. Is it okay to sip beer through a mask? Oh, yeah, still. Yeah, these are pandemic jokes. I see what you did there. I like to shoot the breeze when I drink a draft beer. Shoot the breeze. All right. 2006. There's a marker drawing. Yeah, some kind of. Hopefully that wasn't. People in Tokyo were reporting online. They were hearing. They were feeling rumbling, not enough to be an earthquake, but hearing booms and rumbling. And I guess the Japanese Defense Force was doing drills or something, so they were blowing things up not far from the coast. So yeah, I hope there's not any military activities going on around here, but this could be the beginning of the storms. So one person pinned it. The sugar bowl now empty, contemplated life as just a bowl. Alright, 2000. Oh, there we go. Look at that. 2016. Narcissism was now considered a survival mechanism instead of a personality disorder. Oh yeah. No comment. All the narcissists refuse to comment. Yeah, 2 years. Yeah. 2 years ago, 2017, there was little hope that the new year would be any less garbage than the last. Yeah, I've drawn way too many of like the plastic glasses or whatever, anything that has the new year on it that you literally use for one night. That's exactly how I feel. Nice. Yeah, and this is pre-pandemic too that I did such a negative cartoon. Yeah, that's funny. It's sad to realize this. And I was saying garbage because of like, signs and stuff. Like last year's, 2000 whatever is trash for this year. So yeah, it's the same garbage again and again. This was actually not the creepiest thing he had done on a date. Uh-oh, lots of weird. Ew. The mixing of essential juices. On your first date, you put your hose in her cup. That's bold. French kissing, swapping fluids. Wow, people really ran with that one. All right, one more. Yeah, back then, 2016 was it? I know, I had no idea. See, stop your complaining. The universe said, "Oh, you think that's bad? How do you want to? Do you want to stay inside for 3 months? How about that? Would you think it's bad then?" So November 19th, 2006, Sunday, was his one reprieve from being stuffed with unwanted bills and junk mail. Nobody even saw it. Yeah, some of those comments were great on that last one. Yeah, I never know like what people are going to react to. It's funny. I shouldn't make video game comments. That's the one thing. Everybody in Go Comics is like, what? What are you talking about? All right. Back to the writing. Yeah, isn't that back when we thought the world was falling apart? We had no idea. This is falling apart. You think that's falling apart? This is falling apart. All right. Oh, I'm thinking about rearranging my little office space here at home. I just realized what a stupid waste I was. A waste that a lot of the stuff, the way I have things oriented now, I like walk in and my desk is kind of against my wall, so I have to walk around it. I can't walk. There's one side I can't walk around because it's kind of against the wall. So I come in and walk all the way around. It's like I should just turn everything the other way, just orient it all the other way. So it's easier to deal with, yeah. Because then all my camera stuff and everything, because then I can shoot against my bookcase as a background, so I don't always have to do green screen. I can just have a bookcase behind me. So that'll be better. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Because there's so many times when I'm streaming or doing something that I can't have a green screen. And the angle now is just the kind of the window behind me. And it's also my like hobby bench, so it's not very pretty most of the time. It's just paint and stuff all over it. So yeah, turn it around. So hopefully maybe you'll see a new angle next week. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get time to actually do it. All right, so writing. So I was thinking about, it's supposed to be kind of a donut box. It might not read that way. Oh, and actually I should make it brighter. I should make it that brighter pink. I'm kind of cheaping out that, the super California bright pink donut box. Yeah, there we go. That might not print well, but it reads That's how it should read. Actually, a little bit towards white. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, because I don't think you can actually print on cardboard a pink that bright. All right. Oh, so the the idea was that all the donuts were gone and lunch was So idea was after finishing all the donuts, lunch was this is horrible. Oh, I started typing this right in the middle of the last joke. Great. After finishing was the remote possibility. There's something wrong with the possibility with two S's. Or maybe not. I don't have to say finishing. After all the donuts, lunch was a a slim possibility, a fat possibility. Lunch was not quite possible. Oh, sorry, I can't see the chat now. Yeah, I left up the There we go. Oh no, yeah. I should do IRL room reorganizing. Just watch me like stack things in different corners. All right, I'll just do a reveal. I don't think I can do an in process. All this stupid stuff on my bookshelves too. You guys would be disgusted. Lots of board games and nonsense. All right, so after all the donuts, maybe the possibility of something about less likely. Oh, okay, maybe less and less likely. Becoming less likely. Passed over, I guess it's like a employment joke. Lunch was feeling passed over. So late morning donuts. After all the late morning donuts, lunch was feeling passed over. I don't know. That's not great. Now I've got everything on the wrong screen. Yes, a plot twist. It's all green screen. That's right. Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I think that's a better idea. Yeah. Office donuts. I should definitely name it. Let's call them office donuts. That's a good idea. Yum. Yeah, so it was the rare opportunity, the rare chance, the rare situation where office donuts became lunch, where surviving this is just describing what these things are is becoming, what these non-existent donuts are is becoming very complicated. So the mornings surviving office donuts simply became lunch in this rare turn of events. It's getting long and stupid. Yeah, something that spoils lunch or just leaves lunch. Yeah, lunch is just wondering why this is happening. Mm. Or not being able to, yeah, the relationship with lunch, coffee and lunch, and coffee and donuts. Oh, K5, how's it going? Oh yes, yeah, coworkers. Yeah, some coworker angle. I think it just want the donuts ruined lunch, but in a funny way. Uh, how's it going, K5? Yum just wanted me all to herself. Well, yeah. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna put this in your permanent record, K5. But your wrench stays intact. I was just talking about the excellent mods. The reason that I lowered the filter on the chat was because the excellent mods on abuse cartoons. All right. Sorry. Yeah, something about Office Donuts I think is good. So it's not. I guess sack lunch is kind of the same idea. You're at school or work. Had made lunch irrelevant. Relevant. The amount of so just Office Donuts, capital O. Office Donuts made lunch. Oh yeah, sorry, K5. It's a weird day too. So it's a day late because of we're still dealing with quarantine schedule. Yeah, and it's gonna continue for one more week. Not for me, but for kind of generally at the house. Everyone's gonna be home for another week. All right. The missing Office Donuts. I guess the idea that they did exist, they don't exist anymore. Yeah, Yum doesn't have a wrench. She has a scepter or some sort of higher level of ruling, some tool of dominance. I don't know. Let's try to think of what's a queenly thing. Donuts. Office Donuts had made lunch. That many Office Donuts would make any lunch irrelevant. So maybe just so many. So many Office. That many. make any lunch feel irrelevant. Oh, it almost fits. That many office donuts would make any lunch feel irrelevant. That many late morning office donuts. It just keeps getting longer and longer. Nice. Look on me, look on my works and despair. That many episodes of any lunch feel irrelevant. Yeah, something like that. So I wanted to talk about quantity, like one person eating so many. So that many office donuts. Yeah, it's close. That's close. And this was about like the idea was like the infinite combination of chocolate, caramel, whatever. Yeah. The world did or did not need. That's right. Nice. Strawberry jam, jealous jam. All right. The combination of chocolate, caramel, nougat. How do you say that? How do you spell nougat? And nuts was not infinite. No, that's not even, there's nothing. Yeah, just something about the variety being something. It's not, it's a lot of, sorry. It's a lot of candy bars, but 6 is not a huge, actually that huge a variety. All right. Complex candy bar complexity. Yeah, just like a simple. I like, yeah, candy bar complexity is pretty funny sounding. If I can spell it. Simple chocolate could not compete with this level of boom. Another long. This is better. A simple chocolate could not compete with this level of candy bar complexity. And then he should be, I guess, so we can make sure we know who we're talking about. He's a simple chocolate. A sad, simple chocolate. It's good to see you, K5. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get everything back to normal, but it'll still be a little bit yet. And who knows? Well, yeah, kinds of fun things can happen between now and normalcy. Okay, so a simple chocolate could not compete with this level of candy bar complexity. I like the phrase candy bar complexity. It's better than listing ingredients. And that many office donuts would make any lunch feel irrelevant. Irrelevant. Oh. It was a taffy. But I could figure out how to make a taffy joke with chocolate. Or I guess it could be like an outsider. It does look much more like taffy. It's just a wrapped thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, the bright color does make it look, yeah, because it's bright yellow. Yeah. It definitely looks more like one of those wrapped saltwater taffies. Oh no, no. Triple filled strawberry cheese braid Danish. Oh man. That sounds amazing. All right. Yeah, or yeah, maybe that's more funny than is a old-fashioned taffy. That's actually more funny, or more interesting, the difference. And I think that's going to hit the Go Comics commenters right in the feels. An old-fashioned saltwater taffy. Oh, this is such a novel now. Could not compete with this level. Could not compete. Cannot compete with this level of candy bar complexity. Oh, there's no period at the end. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't take salt water out of there. It's really long. An old-fashioned taffy could not compete with this level. That's enough. Not too long. Could not compete with this level of candy bar complexity. Yeah. This new triple filled. Oh no. We just lobbed that one right in there for yum. Oh man. All right. Make any lunch feel irrelevant, and an old-fashioned taffy could not compete with this level of candy bar complexity. All right, so new and old. I think that works. All right, so let me make some JPEGs so we can not forget to upload these. I've done that before, where I just I save the file. I'm like, there we go, it's finished, and then it never makes it online. Yeah, I did that more than a few times. Where it was like, oh yeah, I did the streaming the day before, so it's definitely finished, and then it's not actually uploaded, so it doesn't count at all. All right, there's one. And another. Lobbed it in. Oh, it's impossible. It's unwinnable. All right. A series of candy bars. All right. Well, let's switch over to the convenience store. The filthy, filthy convenience store. All right. All right. Well, this stream's been going on too long because this is not cold at all anymore. That's too bad. Let's see. And this week, of course, another completely keyed out. So there's a lot of limes. There's limes and mint leaves on here, which are now all keyed out. But Asahi does the Mitsuya Cider. So Mitsuya Cider is a great like summer standard. I forget the. It's been around forever. They just celebrated a big anniversary. So this is a new. So they're doing a lot of craft stuff now. They did like a craft cola and things. So this like, craftsmanship fostered by producing carbonated beverage more than carbonated beverage more than 130 years. Yeah, so Mitsuya, this little symbol here is the company's symbol. So Mitsuya has been around for more than 130 years. Yeah, so from the 19th century. just before the 20th century. They do a bunch of different little stuff. So this is part of their new herbs and fruit thing. So we'll see how this is. So they do a lot of like different Japanese citrus fruits and stuff added to their already kind of cider base, because the cider itself is just kind of a generally sweet taste. It's not very lemon or lime or anything. So they can add things to it to kind of vary the flavor, and they always add very natural flavor. So it's always really good. But this is lime and mint. Yeah, so kind of like a mojito kind of flavor. Wow. So so this will be the kind of sweetness of the cider with some mint and lime. Oh wow, that's good. Yeah, you don't get the mint until the end. That's interesting. So it's like lime, sweet, and then mint at the end. Yeah, this is a really good summer flavor. Very light. The mint makes it very light at the end. So sorry, I haven't been shopping very much recently, so I had this around and thought I would show you this new flavor. These are always very limited time too. Sometimes they'll come back if they were really popular, but these kind of experimental flavors. So that's the frustrating thing is a lot of the stuff you see on stream, if it's a limited time, you won't be able to find it like very long after, like a month or two after this stream. It won't exist anymore at retail. So things are very, kind of trendy and come in waves, and they do a lot of limited stuff. And I think that helps the initial sales because people want to try something. It's not going to be around, so you can't just ignore it and then go back to it later because it's just gone. So so this is great. It's it should be a little bit colder, and maybe on ice would be really good too. But the cider's not too sweet. The lime is just perfect, and then there's mint at the end. I was worried that the combination might be a little strange, but it's perfect. Yeah, and the flavoring is always very natural, so it's not like a fake mint, like an artificial mint or an artificial lime. It's always just juice, although they don't list. They usually, if it contains some amount of juice, they will list how much it is. So maybe a very small amount. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't contain. That's interesting. It doesn't contain any juice, any actual juice. But still, they do a good job of a very natural flavor. It never has that weird artificial, like hyper mint or hyper lime flavor. Yeah, that finish at the end is always really good. That's a nice combination. So special syrup, yeah. I guess the series is special syrup. So basically, it's a something they just add to. So they could actually do like an old soda fountain version of like Mitsuya cider, because they do different flavors. So they could do just the cider as a base and then add stuff to it. I wonder if they do that anywhere. But I've seen cider in old glass bottles and stuff. So yeah, this has been around for a really long time. And there's an old defunct vending machine kind of on the way up to the temple. There's an old vending machine with glass bottles in it. That yeah, I can't believe that used to be a standard. You could get a big chunk of glass out of a vending machine, because now it's all recyclable plastic or cans, I guess, for hot things. Wow, yes, that's pretty good. So anytime, yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet. And they also don't use artificial sweeteners. A lot of the cowpeas is the worst for that. Cowpeas is like that milk drink. It's like uses some milk solid, so it's kind of a creamy but very sweet drink. And they add fruit flavors to that, but it's always with some artificial sweetener. So they try to cut the calories, I guess, with artificial sweetener, and it tastes terrible. It ruins like everything. But this is always, yeah, so this is just like a normal kind of soda amount of calories. 36 calories for every 100 milliliters. So that's pretty standard. Usually like a Coca-Cola is closer to 50, I think. So this isn't quite as much sugar, but still, yeah, not a diet. But yeah, and I don't think they're adding any sugar with the flavors either. It's really good and very natural. I like that. That's always the surprising combination. So when they do different fruit versions of this, it's always tastes very much like the real thing. And they always usually have to mark if they're using real fruit juice or not. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna make the rest of this cold, I think, and finish it later. But yeah, I would recommend. Yeah, so here's all of the sodas have this cap. So when you see that red little three-pronged thing, the Mitsuya, that's always a safe bet at a convenience store. So if you go to any import shops or whatever, they might have the Mitsuya cider, because I think Asahi gets they have a decent international distribution. Because I know the super dry and stuff can find its way to import grocery stores. So yeah, give it a shot. Yeah, really happy this is always the kind of beginning of summer flavor. It's one of those things that you can always find at a vending machine, and it takes away. So yeah, we're right now is the perfect season in Japan. It's right before the rainy season. So June is usually just monsoon season. We get like these like downpours that just come and go all through June, and then the temperature gets up to the high 80s, 90s, and then this huge humidity sets in after the rainy season, and it's just unbearable. It's just kind of like Florida weather, if you've ever felt that kind of more tropical, yeah, like the South, like the American South in the summer, humid. So Southeast, I guess I should say, very humid and just hot enough that you're just always sweating, and the sweat doesn't go anywhere. All right, that has nothing to do with cider, but it has that. But that's the summer. So yeah, Mitsuya cider, and this is a great summer flavor. So I'm glad they're doing that. So that will do it for our taste of summer. All right. Oof. Yeah, I really don't like the fact that they don't have to label artificial. Sometimes they'll say calorie off. So that's the kind of clue they're using, the sweeteners, the chemical sweeteners. But very often they don't. And when it's in the vending machine, you can't like turn the can to read the label. So it's not until you buy something that you've never tried before from a vending machine that you then say, oh, it's got aspartame or sucrose or something in it. They are really bad at that with a canned coffee. So look out for that. That would be like my biggest piece of advice for using a vending machine for buying stuff in Japan is the very few coffees are naturally, they very few canned coffees are unsweetened, so they usually have some at least sugar in them, and very often because they're imagining it's older people or working people or people watching their weight, it's fake sugar, so that tastes horrible. So canned coffee is already not the most delicious thing in the world, plus that bite of fake sweetener afterwards is really, really disgusting. And it's even stranger when it's the hot. So in the fall and winter, the cans are heated in the vending machines. So you can get a hot canned coffee, and it's pretty disgusting when you taste that hot version of fake fake sugar. Yeah, Mitsuya has a huge amount of flavors. So their default flavor is just cider. So it's like a white and blue, or white and green, sorry, white and green label. But then they'll have fruit. So you'll see the fruit. They always picture the like different oranges or grapefruit or lemon type things, like variations of Asian citrus. So there's a lot of different flavors, but none of them are permanent. I think they always kind of rotate. An apple too, like apple and grape, and they always usually name it after like a regional fruit in Japan or something. So it's a very Japanese company in the way that they flavor stuff. They don't go for some European or American named flavor. But only the base, the original flavor is the only one that stays. And I think they have a diet one too. So if it's light blue, I think it's like Mitsuya Zero or something. I forget how they named it. There is a diet version of the cider that came out just recently. But the green one, the one with the green label, is their default one. But yeah, it's fun because they're always rotating flavors. And sometimes the classic stuff from like the 60s or 70s that was like a trend or something, they'll bring back. There's like a Lemona, I think it's called, like a more lemonade flavored one they call Lemona that I think was released in the 70s. So they do like some retro revival stuff, but it's never around for good. Like there's only the original flavor that stays, which is interesting. It's kind of like if Coke only sporadically had cherry Coke or whatever, if they only they didn't do any variation permanently, people would get more excited about it probably. Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I think the bottom heats, like the bottom inside is hotter than the outside of the can. I'm not sure exactly the technology, and I've never like cut one of those cans open. But they're actually at the perfect temperature. So when they come out of the machine, like if it's cold in the winter and your hands are a little numb, it feels so good to hold the can of coffee. So it's not hot enough that it's like, because you can just open it and chug it. Like it's not hot enough to burn your tongue. So not like those, because I remember those. I don't know how many times those horrible vending machines from the 70s, probably like left over from the 60s, that they dropped the cup and then filled the cup with coffee or hot chocolate. So in my case, it was always hot chocolate. So I'm like waiting for my dad to finish work or whatever. And the only thing available is this one vending machine that drops the cup and fills it up. And the temperature of the hot chocolate that goes into that cup is so blazing hot. And no matter how patient you were as a kid, and I was like single digit age, like 6, 7, 8 kind of thing, you could never wait long enough, and you always tried to sip it too early, and always like burnt your mouth, like blister, like 2nd degree burnt your mouth, because the stuff that came out of that machine was so blazing hot. So it's a big difference between the hot cans here. So they're just warm enough that it feels good to hold in your hand, and you can open it up and just chug it directly and not burn your mouth. So it's hot, it's like warmish. It's not super hot. So you wouldn't burn your mouth on it. So they found out like a perfect temperature. And plus they have to maintain that temperature because it stays, heated in the can. It doesn't like go through a heating process or anything. It's always held at this like medium, hot temperature. So it has to be something kind of reasonable, but it feels really good in your hands, and it does dissipate pretty fast. So if you're just using it as a hand warmer, it doesn't last that long. And probably the same thing with the coffee. The coffee doesn't stay hot for very long because it's not an insulated can. It's just like one layer. Yeah, the good old no seatbelt days. Yeah. That was definitely the no seatbelt days. But I just remember like having like feelings of anxiety looking at those machines every time, because they still kind of exist, or they're updated, but they're still kind of around. Those machines that drop a cup and fill it with something. But it was impossible not to burn your mouth, because you can't wait long enough. It's just impossible. And I had no concept of like slurping, like, doing the kind of sipping where you're not just, taking a direct drink of it. Yeah, that was so brutal though. I don't know why. I guess for, like for safety reasons or whatever, they made everything. But the coffee was super hot too. I mean, I didn't drink coffee at that age, but the coffee came out super hot as well. So if you didn't put anything in it, it was a while before you could drink it also. It's so funny. And now there'd have to be, if something was that hot in a vending machine, there'd have to be huge warning labels and everything on it because of all the lawsuits. Because how everything, like all the fast food cups and everything, are, caution, contents is extremely hot. Yeah, that's bizarre. Yeah, I'm trying to think, because they do serve things pretty hot in Japan. The default temperature of things is pretty hot. So ramen and stuff, you can easily, like, you can't just dig in to soup from how ramen is served, because it's served very, very hot. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you have to be cautious about here, because that's just their thing, is everything is served super high temperatures. So I think I was talking about that before as well, because of weird techniques for eating things that are crazy hot without burning your mouth. Yeah, so hopefully things will be normal soon. Okay, so I made the JPEGs, but I didn't upload them. Wow, I can't believe there's a Norm Macdonald one more special still out there. That's really cool. I wonder what's going to happen though. I wonder when we'll see it. Because if Netflix is having trouble, yeah, it may be a while. Although people were making a big deal about Netflix firing 150 people, but I think they have like 10,000 employees or something. So that's actually not a big number. It was probably just a department that they were phasing out anyhow because of trying to figure out how not to keep losing millions of subscribers. I would not want that to be my job. How to keep your company infinitely profitable beyond all reason. All right. Sorry. I'm having trouble finding the files. That's sad. All right. Wow, I can't believe we are in the last week of May already. Jeez. Oh, yeah. The pocket inward flow. Yeah. Yeah, but you put the blazing hot microwave thing in your mouth and just inward below. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Microwaves are the other thing. Yeah, you can make the middle of something so molten hot, and the outside's still cold and the inside is blazing hot, and you're like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, it's so funny, the patience, like not having enough patience to wait for something to cool down. It's so funny. But that's what microwaves did to us. We don't have any time for none of that. It's like, I got a minute, and then this is going in my face as fast as possible. Oh, awesome. Nice. Yeah, there was so much stuff that we used to do that I can't imagine getting away with anymore. It's funny. Who knows? And it's not like the world's a safer place because of it. It's really funny. I wonder, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen any numbers, but I don't think kidnappings and child endangerment have changed at all. So it's not like it's safer for kids, and especially because now you don't have to find them in real life. You can find them online and groom them and lure them virtually instead of having to even be in the area. Nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah. The riding in the back of open back of a pickup is so great, and like going like no, you're going to like a drive-in theater or something. Oh, that's the best. Yeah, yeah. I still remember like sleeping bags in the back, backing going in backwards, and watching a movie from the back of the truck or van. That's the best. Ah, almost killed you. Nice. Yeah, it was funny. So we had so one winter, my dad was, I think, driving me to school, uh, in the pickup. So we're sitting in it's a bench seat, just front seat, and he always did the thing where he stopped short, where he put his arm out. That was that 70s thing. It's like, I gotcha. It's like, okay, if we're in a serious accident, your arm is meaningless. But so he always did that thing, and I remember we were coming down this hill, and the road had been plowed, so there was a ton of snow on either side of the road, just like a country road, and the one field that was to, let me see, it would have been to his left, so towards the driver's side. So out the kind of driver's side of the truck, we could see a whole field of wild turkeys. So the area that we lived in, they had wild turkeys, and so it was amazing. They're really surprisingly big birds, and it's amazing to see so many of them together. And so he he points and says, "Wow, look at all the wild turkeys." And so I'm looking, and as he's looking too, and maybe the action of like driving by, so they're moving this way. He turns his head this way and turns the wheel this way, and we go straight off the road into the huge snow-filled ditch on the side of the road. And the funny thing is, it was just it was early 80s, so just around the time of The Empire Strikes Back. So that shot where Luke crashes the snow speeder into the snow, I saw exactly that thing through the windshield, because the snow was very loose and deep, and the truck just went totally like buried all the way to the windshield in snow. So it just like woof, all the snow came up, and we had to go climb out of the truck and have it towed out. But yeah, I still remember that. Hey, look over there. Boof. And the truck goes right into the snow. But yeah, those things were pretty amazing. So we had turkey vultures, which are just were vultures with this like kind of red head, like this, like a turkey looking pink red head. So you could even see them. So they would be circling anytime there'd be like a dead animal or something. You would see them circling. And then, but we had actually wild turkeys. And so they're not like big and fat like the domestic turkeys are bred to be. They're more lean and tall, but they're really big birds. So to see them, out anywhere, flying around or anything, was pretty remarkable. But they I think they're, I don't think they fly. I think they just have that like limited flight. Even the wild ones, like chickens and stuff, they fly for limited distances. But big dark feathered birds. Yeah, it would have been. I think it would have been pretty bad. Yeah, if he would have driven. Well, I know without the snow though, maybe. And the ditches are pretty deep, so maybe without the snow we would have flipped over, like we would have been upside down, because I think the snow just kind of stuck us, so that the truck didn't continue to roll over. But maybe if it was just the ditch, because there were those big broad, on those country roads, those big broad ditches for the rainwater, so we could have gone over the side and then kind of flip the car over on the top. That's what I did. That's the only car accident I've ever had, was sliding off the road in the snow, or just the icy road in the snow. And all that happened is I just put the car on its side, so I lost the passenger side mirror. And so it was very slow, and then just boom, and the car went into the ditch, but then it just kind of flipped so that the driver's side door was straight up. But the scary thing is when that happened, it was happening slow. So I'm like, oh, this won't be bad. It should be fine. And like, I broke the mirror off. But this is the days of, I think I've already told this story, but there was days of, a box of cassette tapes on the floor that you're putting in your cassette tape player. And so those things went flying up and hit me in the face. And I'm like, oh no, did the windshield break? I thought like the windshield broke or something because I got a face full of plastic cassette tape cases. But it was nothing. But I worried immediately that it was going a lot worse than it looked like. Yeah, that was so that was in the 80s in like northwestern Illinois. So we had brutal winters. We'd get snow. I think those were evil Canadian snows we would get from not too far away. So yeah, it was northwestern. So basically like Wisconsin type winters, and then the car accident that I had was in upstate New York. So that's brutal snow too. That's like brutal Canadian levels of snow. In upstate New York, they often measure the snowfall in feet. So we're gonna have 2 feet overnight or whatever. They don't say inches because it's often so many inches that the numbers are terrifying. Yeah, so I lived all over, but those were the 2 places that probably had the worst winters. Like Chicago winters, when I went to undergrad in Chicago, and Chicago winters were terrible, and the wind was so high. Like there's nothing worse than a ton of snow and then having the snow blowing in your face. So it's all dry and like crystally and like blowing in your face like sand. So your like face gets burnt like you've been in a sandstorm in the desert, but it's just like the snow being blown off the ground into your face. Brutal. Yeah, I hate driving in the snow. Most recent time. So after living in Los Angeles for so long, I lost all of my will to drive in the snow. And when we go back for Christmas and stuff, that was always the worst. Like driving between relatives' houses, and I was worried about that. And all it's almost like sometimes whiteout conditions, and you're just like looking for tail lights, hoping. Like driving in the fog, it's similar to driving in the fog, but in the fog, at least the fog isn't on the ground, making you slide around. So if you don't see the taillights in time, you'll slide right into them. Yeah, that face sting. Yeah, when you have to wrap yourself up like you're, crossing the desert. That's brutal. Yeah, the wind was just insane in Chicago. There was some really miserable. And it's funny because it's Roman grid city blocks. So some directions the buildings are blocking the wind, and then you have to turn some street and you're just immediately belted in the face. Like you turn a corner and just bam, there's the wind right there. Turkeys were fine. It was weird because they can't fly, they can't migrate. So yeah, the turkeys just kind of hang in and pick through the snow in winter. And they're really easy to see because they're so dark. They're really easy to see against the snow. So that's why we had our accidents. Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, we don't get much snow. We occasionally, a couple days maybe, every season we'll get a little bit of snow here. But often because it hasn't been cold enough, it won't stick to the ground. So it's just cold enough to snow, but it hasn't been cold. It hasn't been below zero long enough that the ground will hold it at all. So it goes away pretty fast, which is lucky because there's nobody to clear snow. All we have is some brooms and some salt. That's about it. Yeah, it's funny. Oh man. Yeah, so we're coming up to the brutal. They've already said though that they're outside, and like if you're not close to people, you don't have to wear a mask over the summer in Japan. So I'm grateful for that because that was getting pretty hard. The Japanese super hot summer with the humidity where you can barely breathe, and then you put a mask on top of that, and you can just barely breathe at all. So I'm glad that's going away. Oh yeah, yeah. No, never made an igloo. We made like snow forts and stuff. So we would get snow like it was halfway up the door. So we just kind of our parents just kind of let us dig tunnels into the snow out of the house. So we did that a little bit. So it kind of felt that strange insulation of being in a little room made out of snow. So I remember doing that a few times, but yeah, never like formally packed an igloo. I think they used to sell those igloo block maker kind of molds. I remember those when I was a kid. Like they'd be like yellow or red plastic, and you just pack them with snow, and you could stack blocks. You could build walls and igloos and stuff in the snow. Yeah, the Midwest gets a ton of snow. Like the northern Midwest gets a ton of snow. So there's always lots of never really igloo in Canada. Nice. Yeah, that's the only thing. Yeah, Canada's got like such big, beautiful nature, but oof, I don't know. I got really burnt out of the. I couldn't imagine winter being any longer, and it seems like you've got like 3 months of decent weather a year, depending in most parts of Canada, not like British Columbia or anything. But that would get exhausting to have that much darkness and that much cold, and even like well into April, you're just still things are cold as hell. I couldn't imagine having like only 3 decent months a year where you're not freezing. Mm. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice to be in a place with enough snow to do that. Yeah, just pack the blocks and stack them. Yeah, they kind of had like a handle, like you there was this block mold with open bottom. You pack them in, and you just take the handle, chunk in, and just keep filling them and popping them on. Yeah, I think a neighbor or somebody had that, but I never did. But I remember that's a very kind of 70s winter thing. Or if you didn't have a sled to use the snow shovel, you could sit like the big wide snow shovel. You could sit on the snow shovel, put the handle up between your legs. Of course, you're a kid, so you don't think about the consequences of crashing with a wooden handle between your legs. But yeah, slide on a snow shovel. Or there's a ton of sleds and stuff. They had those perfectly round ones. They called them like flying saucers or whatever. But a sled that was just a round circle, so it would spin. You go down the hill, and you'd end up like kind of spinning around because it didn't have rails or anything on it, so it wouldn't go straight. It was like meant to just spin you around. All kinds of stupid winter stuff. Wow. This is gonna be the remember when live stream pretty soon. I remember there was a thing. Ugh. Yeah, it's a bad combination because it's like I don't have any of those things here, and then those things are distant memories in the US. So like out of context, it makes you even more nostalgic. Like homesick plus nostalgia. It's brutal. Brutal combination. But yeah, they do have in Hokkaido, the kind of northern island, they get decent winters. It's kind of like, the Midwest up there. And they raise a lot of cows and grow a lot of corn and, make a lot of cheese. So it's like the Midwest very much. So there's yeah, so a lot of that's where most of the skiing happens. There's some in northern Honshu, but a lot of the ski resorts and stuff are Hokkaido. Oh wow. Stealth camping in a snow pile at Walmart. That's funny. Yeah, but those big plows can make huge snow piles. I remember that in like mall parking lots and stuff. Yeah, there'd just be these towering piles of snow. Oh man, that still makes me laugh that Walmart is so tolerant of their parking lot being used for like RV, like overnight RV parking and stuff. That's so funny. That's like a weird culture now. You can like retire, buy an RV, and just drive all around the country and stay at Walmart's. Yeah, like you don't never have to pay for your space, but you probably do buy a lot of stuff at Walmart in the process. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, I still remember the nasty though, the snow, like the slush, the melting snow in parking lots, in mall parking lots and stuff. If they didn't, yeah, if the mall didn't clean it up, that weird gray sloppy soup of, of melting summer snow. Yeah, back in my, I'm gonna change. Can I change from domestic abuse to back in my day? The live stream. Back in my day. Mm. Oh man. Yeah. So that's crazy. Yeah, I'm wishing for. I'm having too many winter memories now, and in anticipation of miserable summer. I hope some of the festivals and stuff still go on. That's the worst part. Is the last 2 years there's been horrible heat and zero fun. You know, zero fireworks and festivals and stuff in Japan. So all the fun stuff about summer was just gone. It's depressing. Yeah, snow and road grime. Yeah, that weird gray snow. That disgusting parking lot slush. Yeah. Yeah, so much of that. I guess though that this cartoon lends to nostalgia because so many of the things I draw, it's got some nostalgia to it, like how I just had to color things or what they look like is all like, oh yeah, I used to have that kind of thing. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Summer swimming lakes and ocean, the lakes and the seaside and stuff. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was a fun. That was the most fun about driving, like driving the West Coast is stopping, just like spontaneously stopping and finding a beach. That's really nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, during the summer, especially the seaside here is so crowded because there's not that much of it. It's not so much usable beach here, so people get really crowded on the beach and are just kind of packed in. So the water is full of people and the beach is full of people. It's barely a vacation. You're just standing in a crowd in slightly cooler water than the air. Oh yeah, right. No alligators. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the big thing they have here though is jellyfish. There's a ton of jellyfish, so that's something people can always come across here. Yeah, so you gotta watch out to not have one of those wrapped around your legs and get you all stung up. Mm. Yeah, I can't imagine. And that was the thing they talked about with Florida is like the alligators used to be endangered, and then they protected them, and now there are too many of them. Now they're just encroaching everywhere. So you got to just deal with them. Yeah, there was some video. I think it was just some Instagram or something. Somebody posted a video of a couple's in their pool behind their house, and probably in Florida, and just enjoying the evening. And the alligator just walks across their yard and into the side of the pool and just like goes after each of them in turn. Uh, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The ones that don't sting, yeah, that don't have the tendrils. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have at the aquariums here. They have so many really amazing tanks. Like they have a lot of these small spherical or small the round shape that's like a tube. These like giant tubes, uh, cylindrical. Yeah, cylindrical. They have these large cylindrical uh, tanks for jellyfish that you can stand there that are lit really beautifully from underneath, and they're only maybe like a meter or so across. They're only like a few feet across. So you can kind of stand, and they have a whole room of these. They're really tall, and then the jellyfish are just kind of going up and down. But the way that they light them with the LED lights or whatever, that shows off the color. So maybe a little bit of like a fluorescent light or whatever. It shows off their color, and they're just kind of moving up and down in these really beautiful tanks, and people can look at them like 360. Yeah, it's really cool. Tall circles. Thank you. It's all circles. That just dropped out of my head. That word. That's really funny. Yeah, that's really neat. So it's like a whole. It's like almost like a forest, like a whole room of those tanks, and you just walk among them. So they're like columns. It's like a room full of columns, but each of them is filled with jellyfish. Different varieties and colors and things. Oh wow, yeah, fun. Yeah, getting stung by kinds of fun stuff. Mm. Yeah, yeah. It is beach season soon. Yeah, but the summer vacation here is so short that people don't do. They do like we had the Golden Week, and then they've got the Obon holiday. Now I guess Silver Week. So there's a little bit of holiday, but everybody takes it at the same time, so it's very, very difficult to enjoy. Brutal. Wow, a decent length stream this week. I was worried I was gonna have much energy, but we did it. We did 2 cartoons and drank some mint lime cider. We did it all. So should be back. I can't guarantee. Next week there'll definitely be a stream. Hopefully on the usual day. Hopefully it'll be Monday night, everybody's time. So my Tuesday, but I'm not sure. It'll still be a little bit of a strange week. So I'll just try to fit it in based on if there's any, driving or short days of school or whatever. I want to get back to a normal schedule so you guys know when to find me. I'm not just randomly popping up all the time. But yeah, things should be back to normal. And we're getting halfway through the year pretty soon. I got to get moving on the going through the cartoons for the book. I have to release that this year or else it's not an anniversary, is it? Oh, wow. Yeah. So I got to focus on that as the big project for the rest of the year. But I'll look for you guys' feedback and definitely, I'll solicit some. If anybody wants to do some quotes or anything, I'd love to have those from the chat. I might call through some of the comments on Go Comics and find some more abrasive stuff. But if anybody wants to say anything or read anything, I'll definitely put it in the book because you guys have been a big part of keeping this going for the last part of the 20 years. So very cool. Yeah, things seem to be settling down. There was a risk that if there was one more positive in my daughter's class, that they would shut the whole class down for a while to get things to calm down. But I don't think that happened. So we'll see. It can always happen at any time. But thanks for hanging in there, and we'll do this again next week. So abusecartoons.com is the website, and then Abuse Cartoons on all social media. The cartoon itself is on Go Comics, so gocomics.com/domestic abuse for the archive. So what we look at during the comments is the Go Comics archive, so you can use the calendar. You can go through it chronologically or randomly. Lots of cartoons, thousands of cartoons. That's amazing. Nice. So everyone take care, and thanks for joining. It was nice to see everyone online and get back to a little bit more normal. So thanks. Thanks for the big W. I appreciate it. And take care, Unknown Girl, K5 Yum, and Matt got some sleep there, and it was fun. Oh, and Twisted Fister. It was good to have some Twitch showing up. But take care, and we'll do this again, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more interesting exotic snack. I just wanted to have a nice tolerable soda to try, but it was good. So see you next week, and take care. Goodbye.